During the early 2010s, Sony had a chokehold on a lot of gamers with the hit titles they were releasing. Uncharted 3, Infamous 2, Little Big Planet 2 and 3, The Last of Us, and God of War 3 to name a few. But this was also a period of time where they tried to expand into new, creative and expressive ideas. Games like Puppeteer, Journey, Tearaway, Fez, and a neat little diamond in the rough, Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush is a game where you play as Kat, who owns a cat and lives in a little sewer pipe. She can also do this. This is where shit got crazy. What is going on? Everything is all over the place. I'm being yanked around. I can't see clearly. The camera isn't even fixed in a specific angle. It's scripted across so many different orientations and points of view. It feels so wonky. And that's what Japan Studio was going for. Kat isn't someone who has total control over her powers from the get-go. She wakes up in an unknown park, has amnesia, and is forced to adapt on the fly to save little kid from getting absolutely wiped out of existence. It throws you in the middle of the action and asks you to adapt, and initially, it feels unwelcome, uncomfortable. It's like watching Tobey Maguire struggle when he first becomes Spider-Man.
Shazam!
Oof. Ouch. Ah!
My back!
This doesn't feel easy, and it's not supposed to. You're learning how to manipulate your gravity powers for the first time, on the job, just like Kat. And once you start feeling familiar with how things work, so does she. And this is where the game begins to click. Controlling your gravity doesn't seem like an idea that should work, but Japan Studio really wanted to make it stick, so they created an entire island in the sky for you to navigate around like a playground of sorts. You can float around any which way, slide across surfaces, walk on walls and ceilings, hold a button to speed up. Kat can zoom towards one direction, stop, reorient herself, and zoom in a completely different direction. You can free fall out of the sky and stop yourself just before you hit the ground. Even in combat, you can fight on the ground, you can fight on walls, on the ceiling. She's got a little mid-air dodge. You can use a stasis field to pick up objects and chuck them at foes. Kat has this neat gravity kick where you lock on and home in on a bad guy and collide with an incredibly satisfying crunch. Gravity Rush has this brilliant sense of expression. It's constantly giving Kat different mechanics to pick up and learn how to use, and has side quest challenges to help you master them. The more you play around, the more things start to feel effortless and like second nature, exactly how most superheroes who discover their powers adapt. It's the only game I can think of where you don't begin it feeling comfortable with your powers, but gradually embracing them. If I had to compare how that level of expression translates to another game, Super Mario Sunshine is probably a great example. You know, with FLUDD and all the different things you can do by experimenting, rather than have the game teach it to you. Gravity Rush doesn't just express itself with its in-game mechanics, but also its presentation. The whole game plays out like a graphic novel. You have these comic book-like pages for many of the story sequences, and ink-tipped, cel-shaded environments that look and feel timeless. Despite being full of lifeless NPCs, the game does a pretty decent job of making its towns feel alive. There are 4 main islands joined together, each with their own distinct soundtrack and atmosphere. You have trains that connect them all together, taxis flying around in the sky, and different levels within islands that you can float up from or down to. It's almost like something out of a fairy tale. The neat thing about the game's story is that it's reminiscent of a fairy tale as well, but also an action flick, an anime, a superhero comic, and a mysterious thriller. It plays with a lot of different themes and at times can be pretty bizarre. Kat free falls thousands of feet towards the bottom of a giant hollow structure. She'll cross interdimensional rifts to find lost pieces of island, but she'll also dress up as a maid. Why does she do this? You'll find out if you play it. That bizarre nature also translates to an enemy group called the Nevi, a weird bunch of adversaries that make use of creativity in terms of figuring out how to take them down at the cost of, well, design. They look simple to draw and like blobs of a single color. But you know, you can tell which ones are supposed to be easy and which ones are supposed to look menacing. There's small guys, big guys, fish guys, octopus guys, flower guys, really big flying guys, big arm guys, and a dude with a shiny glowing ass weak spot. So technically, Gravity Rush might just be the first game where you literally kick some ass.
Hadouken!